Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Monday, Lock Shop. What's up? Nielson and Huss back with you again. Monday puck picks on the way, some exclusives we got set up, and it's all brought to you by great partners over at Coolbet, Nielsen Media Coolbet Network, and they have not just yet kicked us to the curb, Huss, but after this weekend, I'd understand why.
Saturday, Dusty. What a day in the Lock Shop. Yeah, I mean, listen, you keep on banging out these Oilers scripts for wins that are paying very, very nicely. And yeah, I got into the act too with the little 3-sport 3-gamer that dropped. So a plus 500 exclusive from you just on the Oiler game. We had the Jays, the Oilers, and the Lakers. I was sort of thinking of you when I put that together. This would be something that I knew you would want to ride with at plus 450. Absolutely made the weekend so far. And we went back at it yesterday. We did not get the results in the hockey games that we were hoping for. And we can kind of get to what happened to the Leafs in that bizarre way that the Kraken Dallas game turned. That being said, though, I think there's still a lot of heat, residual heat from Saturday and the weekend coming into today's Monday edition of the Lock Shop.
Yes, we've got another Oilers exclusive. It's already up. Huss and I work together. We have a 3-gamer that we will get to as well. Did you celebrate the big Saturday with the haircut, Huss? You're looking a little high and tight today.
Oh, you know what? It's funny. We had one of our sponsors, Modern Man, shout out to them, had their grand opening of another new location yesterday. So went by, got a little helmet reduction. And I also had, this is great. We often will talk food items on this program and WST. They had the Jeepney food truck there, which specializes in Filipino food. And I had the Filipino beef shawarma wrap, which they were giving out to the first 400 people. Honest to God, dude, an 11 out of 10 wrap. The best wrap I've ever had. It was very similar in some ways to a donair.
Okay.
It had a few more fresh vegetables. It was maybe a little lighter with a great sauce. So yeah, I did a few big boy things on the weekend, including getting a haircut. But let's face it, the focus was more on having fun and, of course, the games. And
yes,
I'll tell you what, I had a lot more fun than our friends that are Leaf fans. That was disappointing for us because we did ride with them. There hasn't been, as I said, I was on Florida for the series, on Florida for those first 2 games. Really thought that the Leafs would step up with a performance to get back in the series last night. And man, they didn't. And a lot of all the good vibes of winning that series against Tampa feel like it's
out the window
a month ago for Leafs Nation. And now it's the same old stories. Can these guys get it done? Where are the big players in the big game? And listen, sort of justified. That was incredibly disappointing when you've got that much money tied up in players that have the ability to sort of take over games. Their season was on the line last night, and they did not get it done. And no one's happier right now than Paul Maurice. Although I think Maurice would love for this series to at least get back to Toronto just so he can bask in the glory of the attention a little bit more, because everything's coming up Pomo right now.
It's working out very well for him. There's no doubt about it. All 3 games yesterday were rather interesting storylines in all of them. We'll touch on all of them quickly, but just for the Maple Leafs, for this series to be at 3-0, and I think in general, like the general play, people have probably liked what they did against Florida, maybe even more so than they did against Tampa. It hasn't led to victories, but when you've got nothing from Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and Nylander, when you are built so top heavily in those 4 guys and really not much else offensively in that lineup, Huss, if those guys are going to come up dry, man, you got no chance. And I also don't think, this is great for us, we were on the Panthers in this series, I don't think this team has that mental strength to be the team that claws back from a 3-0 deficit. Even if they get 1 win and the momentum going back home, I just don't know if they're constructed that way to grind one out like the Panthers just did against the Bruins.
No, the Panthers are looking like Bill Zito knew what he was doing and putting together a team that might not be as good in the regular season, but we were ready for the playoffs. And man, have they looked at that. And by the way, for cool bettors out there, just before I forget, just fired up the account to get into some of these exclusives, and nice little promo right now. Place a $30 bet and receive a $15 free bet to use anywhere in the sports book right now. You got to tick the NSB 28 box and place it eligible to bet to receive your free bet. So check out the promos. Always a lot of good stuff heading over at CoolBet.
Huss, what about those other two games yesterday? I know we stayed away from New Jersey, Carolina, but we were on Dallas last night, and the Seattle Kraken. It's like I was saying on my show this morning to Greg Wyshynski. I said, every time the Kraken win, like they beat Colorado, now they've done it to Dallas. Every time they win, I'm always like, wow. Impressive, surprising. Like it still blows me away how impressive they are. And this is a team that was ahead of the Oilers for most of the regular season. I shouldn't be surprised by this.
Yeah, listen, I've been burned as well, like so many people have. I mean, it's just so easy, especially with the team way out on the West Coast time zone that doesn't get a lot of national TV or anything like that, to think that it's a bit of a mirage, or hey, it's been really cool that they got that win, but the clock striking midnight for Cinderella. No one's told the Seattle Kraken about that, and they are playing so hard right now. I'm very glad on our partner parlay for the series we did not take Dallas -1.5 to get the extra money, because I think if Dallas is going to win this could very well go the distance to Game 7. But I'll tell you what, there are a lot of things that are just sort of falling in the Kraken's favor right now. And that was a really tight game. I know the final score doesn't look it, but I mean, it was a really tight game until the complete turning point of Miro Heiskanen taking one right off the grill. He goes down. Eberle, thank you very much. Boom, boom, in the net.
Great
play
composure by Eberle, yeah.
For sure. And I mean, the Stars had said that Heiskanen was going to come back, but the minute he left the ice, the Kraken just sort of kept it going. And next thing you know, the game was sort of out of hand. So I think that's why we didn't see much of Miro Heiskanen coming back. But tell you what, bet against the Seattle Kraken at your own risk right now. I really do regret not getting on them a little earlier, because, man, the numbers that they have been winning at throughout the playoffs, they were the biggest underdog in the first round. They were the biggest underdog during most game nights when they were playing in the first round. Yep. And they're still playing, and they're still winning right now, up 2-1. Crucial game. I say all this giving Seattle credit. I'm sure I'll be on Dallas in game number 4 to tie the game up. But tell you what, they're a great story right now, and I'm not sure if enough people are talking about it, just because, let's face it, so much of the focus has been on the Oilers series and on the Leafs series right now. But Seattle authoring a pretty incredible tale of their own.
If you still believe in the Dallas Stars, their series price right now +110. So something to consider if you still like Dallas in that series. Just one game tonight in the National Hockey League, and that is the Edmonton Oilers and Vegas Golden Knights, and that is where we head for our puck picks. I've got an exclusive I'll lay out here after we lay out our puck picks as well. And Huss, thinking along the same lines, I've been hitting things really well lately, so I'm going with a little bit of a stretch here on a Leon Draisaitl first period goal at +385. If you were ever going to bet on a player to score in the first period in the history of the game, it's probably Leon Draisaitl tonight. So Leon Draisaitl first period goal at +385, and then the over 6.5. The number actually set at 7 right now. Move it down to 6.5 and take the over at -136, and then the Oilers in regulation tonight. What do you think of that Draisaitl first period goal? Like,
I love it. I love it. You could not put any bet right now in front of me that has Leon Draisaitl involved and not get me to maybe pull the trigger on it. I was just thinking back to game 1 of the first series, and we were thinking about a few bets, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with the Draisaitl goal. Do you remember? Do you remember what the odds were for Leon to score in game number 1? Like, what?
I don't remember. What was it? Like +1.
+161.
Oh.
He's now -134, -136 to score. Listen, he's on a pace unlike anything we've ever seen before in NHL history. He could break the all-time record for goals in a playoffs without even getting to the Cup final. I mean,
he could break it by the end of the series if it goes 7. Listen, at the rate that he's going right now, it is.
listen, as someone that picked him in my playoff draft, I've been enjoying it. I've put sprinkles on him to score throughout. And even though the number keeps going down and down and down, there's a reason for that, because it keeps cashing and cashing and cashing. So the dry train will continue. And you got him at that plus 385 for a first period goal. I mean, why not get a little aggressive to try to get a big one? I like it. I'm riding with an Evander goal today.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just going to, you know what? I wonder if Kuba could get us odds on Leon to score in all three periods, first, second, and third. I wonder what that number would be. I mean, highly unlikely, but it'd be a ridiculous number, and I'd sprinkle it for sure.
Well, I was looking, the hat trick number for Draisaitl is plus 950.
Okay.
That's it. So that just speaks to how crazy he is right now. I mean, timing them one per period might be getting a little aggressive.
That would be crazy, though. If he hits that tonight, and that would be amazing. That'd be crazy. But you're on Kane. Kane's been duking it up a little bit here. He's fired up right now.
Oh, Kane. Fuck around and find out. Evander Kane? What a line. Yeah, listen, the natural is feeling it right now. You can tell. And whether he's working over opponents UFC style with multiple body shots in the corner to his aggressor, Keegan Colasar, or playing an important role in the top six right now, I think he's in. And Evander, this is a guy that was never short of confidence, to say the least. But I think right now he realizes that he is in just an absolutely perfect position. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, I know he's got a lot of people that can't stand him, but the way that his career has sort of found a home and some redemption and a great opportunity, he's making the most of it right now. And he's a very, very important part of this team. And I think with everyone else out there that, is scoring right now, it's basically a matter of time with the guys that he's playing with right now. And listen, I think that his popularity went up a little bit, the way he handled things in game number 2, and just the way things are going for the Oilers. I kind of see this rolling. So plus 158, we're going to drop a little sprinkle on Evander to score tonight. And as I say, I think the value right now is on Edmonton in regulation. You're sort of a guy that does a lot more of the regulation bets than I normally do. But considering where we're at in the series, I expect that Edmonton is going to be looking. I mean, this is sort of the script we've seen before. They lose game 1, they come back with a big performance in game 2, and then they really get after it in the games 3 and 4 coming home right now. So it'll be nuts, but I think Kane's going to have a big role in this one. I might even tab him for a couple points. I think that's another one that, I think he might be in and be involved. But let's face it, it starts with Draisaitl and McDavid. And if they're playing the way they are right now, I like Edmonton in regulation. And I do like the total right now is 7.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a little more prudent to get to the 6.5, because as we saw, Dusty, one of the shrewdest moves of that exclusive that you put together was lowering the total to 5.5, because if that was a 6.5, everything else hit. We were still waiting for that last goal that didn't go in. So good on you. And but I do like the over 6.5 tonight.
Yeah, it was. I always like to, in those exclusives, if I'm going to go total tonight, I went power play goal totals instead. But I was. So they score 4 in the first. We cover all the player props in the first. So I'm just like, okay, just need 2 more goals. They get 1 in the second. I'm looking at the Oilers are up 5-0, and I look at my wife and I said, I need 1 more goal. I don't care who scores it. And she goes, how dare you cheer for Vegas to score? I said, listen. The Oilers are up 5-0. I just need 1 goal either way. It's not going to impact the outcome of this game. And she goes, I'm cheering against your bet tonight. I said, you're crazy. And then they got the goal early, and things were taken care of. So that was nice. But yeah, we're going to run it back with another exclusive tonight. We've got a 3-game exclusive that we'll get to in a second. We're on the topic of the Oilers right now. So here's what I put together for tonight. It's plus 400, and it is the Oilers to win. Over 1.5 power play goals combined between the two teams. Oilers power play went 3 for 6 in game 2, and the percentage actually dipped. That's how ridiculous the power play has been so far. Draisaitl to score a goal, McDavid with 2 points or more, and the Nuge to register a point as well. And Huss, I said to you, I said the reason we have so much success with these things is because this is the script. Like if the Edmonton Oilers are going to win a hockey game, this is usually the script. The power play's getting a couple of goals. All those guys are involved on the power play. And then after that, they just have to take care of business. So let's run it back again. If we can hit this, it would be 4 of the last 5 games that we've hit this plus 400 or better on. So fingers crossed tonight. Nuge better not let me down. Nuge is my guy. He's had a slow playoff, but he's out there on that power play all the time, milking points here and there. Let's hope he does it tonight.
Yeah, it's not like they're squeezing through with fourth liners getting goals and winning 2-1 and having heavy unders. I mean, it's pretty clear. And I mean, the fact that it is plus 400, even with the boost, just goes to show how prolific these guys have been right now and where those numbers are at. As I mentioned, to start the playoffs, Draisaitl goal was plus 161. It's now minus 134 because he's doing at a rate we've never seen before. We do have a partner parlay.
Yes, we do.
For tonight's game. And, coming off our 3-sport, 3-game ticket and winner on Saturday, we're going to go with that as well. We've got the Oilers to win, and this is just a straight money line bet, so not even in regulation. We've got the Rays run line. And again, I'm looking for a team that I like to look. Now, they're like minus 189 to win. We got basically even money on them at minus 1.5. If you were a call, Dusty, doing our preseason baseball picks, I tabbed a little future on Shane McClanahan for the Cy Young from Tampa.
Yes, you did.
6-0 with a 2.03 ERA, looking to go 7-0 tonight against Kyle Gibson of the Orioles. Now, Orioles have been a very good story so far this year. They're 10 games above 500, but the Rays are the team right now. And, I like Tampa to jump on Baltimore tonight. I think it's worth it to bet the minus 1.5 right now. So Tampa by 2 in that one. And then we'll go with your Lakers on this. I'll be honest, this is a tough play.
This is a tough one. I
think that if Golden State comes back tonight is probably going to be in Golden State, by the way, if you want to ride that way, plus 123 on the money line. It was glorious because we had the Jays in, we had the Oilers in. I'm watching that game, and they just called the dogs off. I mean, they took the starters out. They put in the garbage time backup bench guys. So we got to just kick back and enjoy that one. But I think there was a method to the madness of Steve Kerr there. I think they wanted to give their guys as much rest to come out because they know getting down 3-1, very, very difficult to come back from. Although the Warriors have done it and had it done to them. So I don't know. Part of me thinks this, but hey, for the parlay tonight, if you like the word Lakers on this one to get the win at home, and the Warriors have been terrible on the road. I mean, that is one thing.
That's the key thing. I mean, the Warriors were god awful on the road all year. Now they came up big against Sacramento on the road, but that's a little bit of a different beast than LeBron and Anthony Davis and even D'Angelo Russell, who's playing extremely well right now. So, I mean, when you're a team that relies so much on just shooting, I can understand why you'd be so good at home where you're shooting all the time and then kind of shitty out on the road where if you don't get hot early, you're kind of screwed. So that game on Saturday was a little bit of a roller coaster because I didn't watch the first part of it. I was watching the Oilers game. The Oilers game got to the intermission, so I flipped on that game. And the Warriors went on like a 17-4 run. And I'm beating the couch up like I'm losing my mind. And Tammy's like, second period started, flip back over to the hockey game. I was like, of course. So I flip back over. And then I'm watching on my phone. And I'm seeing the Lakers come back and take like a 7-point lead. I'm like, okay. And then I couldn't go back and watch because I was like, I'm going to jinx them. So I followed the whole game on the app. And then as soon as it ended, I fired up and watched the entire game from start to finish, even in the blowout. I didn't want to jinx it because we needed it for the parlays. So yeah, it worked out. It worked out well. So let's run that back tonight.
I had a similar, I was down at a local watering hole. I went over onto the other side, came back when they were down, came back and they were up 11. I'm like, all right, I'll hang there. And then I saw it was 20 and I'm like, hey, no problem. Let's just enjoy the victory lap. The backups are in, raise the W for the lock shop and get that one in. But for tonight's Rays minus 1.5 against the Orioles, Oilers to win, Lakers to win, plus 445. It's up there right now, right beside the must bet ride with Dusty Oilers prop for our 2 Lock Shop exclusives today.
Got to get on it until it bucks you. That's for sure. So 2 games tomorrow in the National Hockey League. And then on Wednesday, the double dip Leafs and Oilers on Wednesday. So that'll be a big one. Leafs have 2 days off here to contemplate being eliminated in 4 by the Florida Panthers. So that should be good. All right. That's going to do it for today's episode of The Lock Shop. Remember those exclusives we just talked about. Go to coolbet.com, click on exclusives, and that is where you can find those for today if you want to hop on board with that. Just one game tonight we'll be focused, and of course the draft lottery happening tonight as well as the Connor Bedard lands somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. The NHL draft. Here we are right now. Okay, you can bet this if you do want, folks. If you want to get it in. Here, let's just quickly look at these ads. Team who will receive the first overall pick. Anaheim Ducks plus 260. Columbus plus 545. Chicago plus 655. San Jose plus 815. Habs plus 925. Coyotes plus 1050. Philly plus 1250. I did not realize that Washington got a sniff in this. The Caps are plus 1350. Detroit's plus 1650. The Blues are 24-1 and the Canucks are 28-1. So those are the 10 teams, 11 teams that have a chance at Connor Bedard. I know we'll be talking about this on Winnipeg Sports Talk today. Not necessarily who do you want him to go to, but who would anger you the most if they won the draft? Coyotes around here.
I'm sprinkling the Coyotes for sure at plus 1050 tonight, just because I'm a conspiracy guy, right? Like I might as well cash in on that.
What? See, that thing is, I think they would conspire to not have him go to Arizona. I mean, that's the worst case scenario for the National Hockey League. You have this generational superstar playing in a college rink in a city that no one cares. Like that's the disaster.
I don't know. That's a market that Bettman's been hanging on to forever for this exact opportunity to put a superstar in there, right? Like
to do what? To have everyone forget about him?
to play with a bunch of guys who are no longer wanted by anybody else, basically.
Well, the funny thing is that if Arizona got Connor Bedard, if they won the lottery, then with all the other picks that they have, like what would that franchise be worth to move? Like to a Houston or something like that. Like you're bringing in a team that is set with a superstar. You have all these picks. You have some other high picks that they've had before. I mean, I don't know. I think from a league standpoint, you'd probably think Chicago, like, original 6 team. I mean, I don't want to see him in, I guess it would be fun seeing him in the Central Division all the time, but then you got to deal with it. I don't think they want the West Coast teams, the Ducks or the Sharks. I mean, that's another thing that's just sort of too far away. Philadelphia might be the best thing for the league. You know what? That's a team that's got a big following. You'd have those big Eastern games. You'd get them on TV.
That would be big for the league. Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. Anyways, you can see there it's on NHL draft at the bottom. And just in case you want to, the Leafs, I'm just looking at this right now. The Leafs are favored again in this game. Minus 123 favorites in game number 4. Florida's at plus 105. I would imagine that number comes down a little bit. Like, I mean, the Leafs look pretty done at the end of that game. I don't know. But anyways, we'll follow that for the next couple days. But as of right now, if you want to get in on the Panthers, you're getting plus money at home to finish the job and the sweep against the Leafs on Wednesday night.
If you've been watching on my Twitter account, make sure you subscribe to the podcast on all your podcasting platforms. Just search the Lock Shop, and over on our YouTube channel as well at Lock Shop Bets. Enjoy the hockey game tonight. The 2 NBA games going as well. Should be good ones. Haas, we'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
Right on, dude.